everyone, a very warm welcome to my channel Bookline and Sinker. I'm super excited about today's video because today I'm going to be sharing with you my first ever monthly recap of the books that I've read in the month of July. Well, I am a voracious reader, but I've never really kept track of the number of books I read in a month. And since this channel has started, I, of course, am keeping a track, and I'm also reading far more, which is always great. If you're new to my channel, I'm Nimisha. I'm a voice artist and a book lover, and on this channel we have inspiring conversations about books and all things related. So if you're looking for book recommendations, reviews, reading tips, author specials, then you've come to the right place. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell icon, because every time you do that, it gives me a little more visibility on YouTube. Well, without further ado, let's get into today's video. I managed to read, if I may say so, 6 books. I'm going to first take you through the books I read electronically. Hunger by Roxane Gay. Now, Roxane Gay is an American critic and writer, and she's also morbidly obese. This book is about her struggle with obesity. Roxane was gang raped at the age of 12, and this is also a story of her struggle with sexual violence and abuse as a child, and how it has affected her entire life. Hunger is used as a metaphor in this book, not just for food, but for acceptance in society, where people who are obese or fat are visible, extremely visible, yet still invisible to the majority of us. It made me question my assumptions on people who are obese. And it also made me think about how we as women derive our self-worth from being thin, which is so sad. This is a very well-written memoir, but there is one major flaw in this book, and that is it is extremely repetitive. I would give this book a 3.5 stars. As part of my book club this month, I reread the book Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. This book is a very English and proper kind of a book. If you watched Downton Abbey and liked it, you're gonna love this book, because it is set in that time of the 1920s, 30s, 40s, when you had these large English houses full of butlers and housekeepers and valets, and the lives of the people at that point in time. This book is the story of an English butler, how he is a very lonely character who's unable to express any sort of emotion, whether it's to his father or to this woman who's the housekeeper. And then he decides to go on a road trip to meet her. The novel has an unrequited love story. It has reflections on the First and the Second World War. It is about roles allocated to different classes of people, specifically the working class in England. This is not one of those books which is a page turner. This book reads like a walk through the English countryside. It is beautiful. I love this book. I would give it a 4 stars and ask you to pick it up. And the last book that I read was Homegoing by Gyasi. This is a book on slavery and blacks and covers nearly 300 years. I've got a full review of the novel which I have linked above, so please do check that out. It's a book worth reading. I would give it a 4 stars. And now I'm going to take you through the books which I have hard copies of. I'd actually made a trip last month to the bookstore and bought them. Here they are. The first one is A Burning by Megha Majumdar. Now, this book has gotten rave reviews across the board, and over here it's got a review by Amitav Ghosh saying best debut novel behind a stunning debut by Gyasi. So of course I was really eager to read this book. This story starts with 3 characters, Jeevan, PT Sir and Lovely. Now, Jeevan is this young Muslim girl who gets wrongly accused of being a terrorist when she makes a Facebook comment. And she's sent to jail without getting any sort of a hearing. The system doesn't permit her to speak. And she is tried not just by the judiciary, but by the public and the media as well. There's also a PT Sir and a Lovely. These are the other 2 characters whose lives are somewhat connected to her life. These 2 ride on her misfortune in this story. There are a lot of topics this book touches upon: poverty, nationalism, Indian politics, and how this country is actually survival of the fittest and how we encroach upon each other's basic rights and needs. It's a sad book. It makes you think, but I have to say that I found it somewhat clinically written. I understood the characters, but I did not feel as strongly for them. I would rate this book maybe a 3.5 stars. It's definitely not worth the hype that it has received. The next book that I've read is Shaheen Bhatt's I've Never Been Unhappier. Now, this book is about Shaheen Bhatt's struggle with depression. Shaheen writes extremely honestly about her mental issues. She touches upon depression, shame, anxiety, and even suicide. She takes a lot of effort to kind of humanize the feeling of depression. So the narrative doesn't really run like a memoir, but there is a lot of information on depression, on the feeling of depression, and the perceptions of depression in society even today. I would say that if you're expecting filmy drama or any inside stories of the Bhatt family, that's not going to be there. Instead, you should expect a very stark and honest narrative, a reflective narrative of a woman who's actually struggled with this mental illness. I would give this book a 3.5 stars. The next book that I read was How We Disappeared by Jing Jing Lee. Well, this book turned out to be amongst I would say the best read of the month for me so far. This story is about a woman who is forcefully taken to a Japanese military brothel during the invasion of Singapore. And the writing is so vivid and horrifying that I had to actually pause between reading this book a couple of times because it was really heart-wrenching and painful to read it. The kind of torture which these women had to go through in those brothels. Not just that, the story is also about how those experiences of war live with you even after war ends. And the writing of this book is just wow. Jing Jing Lee has extracted human emotion and just put it on a page for us. This is Jing Jing Lee's first novel. She actually wrote a poetry collection before this, but she's a writer I will definitely look out for. I'm gonna give this book a 4 stars. Which were the books that you read in the month of July? Tell me what kind of books you like to read, and probably I could go down that road and figure out some interesting reads for you. Also, the list of the books that I've spoken about today are there in the description box, so you can see them there. If you enjoyed today's video, like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me across social media because I take out a new video every week and you don't want to miss it. Until the next book, bye-bye!